Hi, hey, hello, how's it going? It's Emily, and today we're going to be talking about the books that I'm going to be reading in the month of September, or my September TBR. We have a lot of ground to cover because there's my TBR game, Amy and Kem's TBR game, and Magical Readathon. So first though, let's talk about how we did in August. So I did complete all of Amy and Kem's prompts, but for some reason when I was watching the most recent live show, I deleted and took away the information for what I had submitted, which was not the best way to do that. So I don't remember what I submitted for their prompts, but I did finish all of the prompts. So for my TBR game, I had What Happens in Amsterdam for paperback, read that one, Battle of the Bookstores for a 4 or more word title, Temple of Swoon for a free pick, The Woman in the Library for the End Spot free pick, Deep End for 400 pages, or 400 plus pages, and then Shield of Sparrows for a genre blend. That's a romantasy, and I read all of those. So we did great. So let's talk about what's going to be going on in September. We'll start with Magical Readathon. So I'll just link the video down below that G did to talk about Magical Readathon. I'm not going to recap everything here. I'm going for Scribe just because it was a little bit easier. So that's what I decided to do in April, especially with my own TBR game piling on. I didn't want it to be too much. So we went for Scribe and I completed everything in April. And so for the fall ones, there are 3 levels of knowledge that you can have in a class or in a subject, depending on how intensely you need to master that subject. So for elemental studies, I just need to accomplish the first of 3 levels, and the prompt is a book with water on the cover. So we're gonna go with Tusk Love, and you're like, Emily, where's the water on the cover? I got you. Hold on one second, because there is a reverse dust jacket, and I have the normal one out just because I love this cover so much, but there is a reverse dust jacket, if I can get it, that has, see that ship and that water? Hopefully you can see it there. There's a ship and some water on the back of that. I do hope that is coming through well enough. Anyway, so I'm gonna count it because it is still on the inside of the cover, and if I had that one out, you would call it water on the cover because that would be the part of the dust jacket that I would have facing out. But because I like this cover just a little bit more, I'm leaving this one out, but I'm still counting it because that is the closest I'm going to be able to get with my physical TBR. Okay, so the next class that I need, or the next subject I need, is inscription, and I need to get to the second of 3rd level for that. So I need to complete the first 2 levels. The first one is to pick a book with a prime number of letters in the title. So for this one, we're gonna go with Arcana Academy. Hopefully I'm adding this up properly, and it is 13 letters in the title, which is indeed a prime number. So we're gonna go with this one by Elise Kova. I'm very excited for this one. I've been hearing great things, and yeah, it came in Fairy Loot, and I was very, very excited for it to come in Fairy Loot. So the next one under inscription is a vertical title on the spine. So for this one, actually I think it might be back here, we have the Atlas Complex, and that basically just means that if you're holding the spine vertically, you can read the title as opposed to holding it this way to be able to read the title. And so we're gonna go with the Atlas Complex. This is the 3rd and final book in the Atlas 6 series. So we're gonna finish a series, which is always exciting. So we're gonna go with that one. The next subject I need is restoration, and I just need, again, the first of 3 levels of mastery. And so for this one, it's a book with a single point of view. And for this one, I'm going to go actually with the book I just held up. We're going to go with The Last Graduate. Actually, this is The Golden Enclaves. This is the third book in the Skullman series, which I do also hope to get to. The Last Graduate is the second one, which I will get to before I read the third one, shockingly. And so we're going to put the second one on, just in case I don't get to the third one. And I know this is single first-person POV. We're in Elle's head, in, again, first-person point of view, and it's just her the whole time. So definitely going to be a single POV. So it'll be nice to finish that series as well. I enjoyed listening to the first one on audio. I think this is an audio series because a lot of people get annoyed with the writing style, but I think the narrator kind of saves that. But anyway, rant for another day. The next class I need, or the next subject I need, is lore. So for this one, I need all 3 levels of mastery. So the first one is to read a translated work. So for that one, I'm going to go with What You Are Looking For is in the Library, which I believe is translated from Japanese. And I'm super excited for this one. So we're going to go with What You Are Looking For is in the Library. And then the next one is letter or notes on the cover or inside the book. So something to do with letters. And I have the perfect one for this one. So we're going to go with the Otherwhere post. And technically on the cover, it just has these quills and some other little bits and bobs here. Technically, there's not a letter on the cover, even though this very much talks about letters. So it does reference a letter that our main character received in here. So her father, I believe her father went missing. No. Her father was accused of a crime. And then our main character receives a mysterious letter that says, your father was innocent. So the blurb mentions our main character receiving a letter. So there's that. But not only that, she also, in order to investigate what's going on with that mysterious letter and uncover the truth, she poses as an apprentice for the Otherwhere post, where she'll be trained in the art of scriptomancy, which is the magic that allows couriers to enchant letters and deliver them to other worlds. So literally there is a group of people who use magic to enchant letters. So there could not be a more fitting book for this prompt, to be honest. Very excited for that one. Emily J. Taylor also wrote Hotel Magnifique, which I really enjoyed, so very excited for her next one. And then the final prompt I need for Magical Readathon is a book with 2 or more M's, the letter M in the title. So for this one, we are going with Immortal Consequences, and this is by Ivy Marie, and this was also a Fairy Loot one. Deals with kids going to Blackwood Academy. I don't know. I'm excited. I've been hearing good things. Seems very fall-esque, so I wanted to get it in during fall. So that is Magical Readathon. And I'll quickly go over Amy and Kim's TBR prompts. And this time, because the game ended, they're actually doing a giveaway. And anyone, I'll link the last live show where they talk about this, but anyone can read, even if you haven't participated in any of the live shows so far, you haven't been assigned to a team, you can still read a book that fulfills these prompts and submit them to Amy and Kim and get entered for a giveaway for a free book. So feel free to check out the link below. The game honestly was so much fun to follow and play along with. Delightful. Like, it was so creative, so much fun. Every live show just made me laugh out loud. So I would highly recommend checking this game out anyway. Even though it's done, Kim will be doing some iteration of it in the near future. So it's going to be a blast. So I would highly recommend subscribing to both of them and following along. But anyway, that means that not only can we do the prompts for my team, but we can also submit and read books for the prompts for the other team and have it count towards entries into this giveaway. So reading a book that'll scare me is the first prompt, which I'm going to be trying to fill up on as many fall spooky season books as possible, so that shouldn't be a problem. A book inspired by the battlefield section of the board. I'll have to think of which one most describes that, but probably this one would fit the most for that prompt. An indigo or dark blue cover. I'll have to go back over the covers and figure that one out. This one's a pretty dark blue, indigo-y type of color, so that would work. A free pick, reading a romantasy. We've got several romantasies that we'll be shooting for in the month of September. I mentioned Arcana Academy. I'm also hoping to read The Curse of Sens by Kate Dramis. So there will be some options there. A crime thriller book inspired by the Australian Numbat. And for this one, let's grab these over here. So I was reading about them, and they're apparently very isolated animals, anyway, very solitary animals. So I figured a thriller that takes place in a solitary or isolated setting with a limited cast of characters could be fun. And The Golden Spoon fits that. So this one is basically the Great British Bake Off if there was murder on the set of the Great British Bake Off. And Great British Bake Off is going to be back at the end of September, so I need to get in the mood. You know what I mean? So this is an option that could fulfill that. I also have Death at Morning House, which is Maureen Johnson's recent book. Actually came out a little bit ago, but I think this is her most recent book, and follows a character who works at this remote place called Morning House. So I think it seemed remote. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so some options there if I get to those. Of course, my priority will be my physical TBR, but we might be able to sneak in a couple other things. Next one is to read a fantasy on my 10 and 25 list. And I think for that one, did I put this one? I can't remember if I put this one or not, because I was so excited after reading The Spell Shop and was so excited when I saw that there was going to be another one. I might have put that one on. I'll need to double check. The final one is to read a secondhand copy of a romance. So I picked up Deja Brew at the library, which counts as it being a used book because other people have read this, or at least so I presume. This is just a cute fall romance, so I figured that could be a perfect option. Anyway, so we've got some things that we can work in for some of those prompts. So I'll fulfill as many of those as I can and go from there and see how many entries into the giveaway I can work out. So we're gonna try to get as many of these that I've already mentioned onto the TBR for TBR Grand Prix. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get on into the first roll. All right, we are ready for a new round with the first roll. Okay, we have 2. So we're going to the Haas spot, which is the second team spot, which will correspond to the second deck here. And we have pretty cover. I have many of these. Perfect. I do love me a good pretty cover. And literally so many of my books could fulfill this prompt. And usually I would fulfill this with a fairy loot, but I might actually just go with this one. This is the regular edition of the Enchanted Greenhouse, but this art I'm just absolutely obsessed with. I love the cover of this one. I also held up Tusk Love earlier, and I love the cover of Tusk Love. Plus, there are all the beautiful Fairy Loot editions. So there are plenty of options here, but I'm going to go ahead and put the Enchanted Greenhouse on for the official TBR. All right, next roll. And next roll is a 3. So we go 1, 2, 3, and this is the drag reduction system, or DRS, which means that we can just keep rolling and moving on forward. All right, we have a 4 here, past the crash spot, 2, 3, 4, and actually back on a Haas spot, or the second team spot. So go to the second deck here, and nonfiction, which actually perfect, because in September I have the Environmental Book Club meetup, and we'll need to read a nonfiction. So as I mentioned, this is actually super handy because there's a nonfiction I need to read this month, because towards the end of the month I'm meeting up with my book club meetup for my environmental book club, and we're going to be reading What If We Get It Right? Visions of Climate Futures, and this is by Ayanna Elizabeth Johnson, and I've been hearing good things about this one, and this is one actually suggested by one of the members. And it's a collection of different things, essays, interviews, even some poetry here and there. So intrigued to see what all's in there. So that's what we'll go with. All right, next roll. So next roll, have a 5 here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have a radio message, and I do need to make more of these, but we'll see what this one says here. Push for fastest lap, roll again, and keep moving forward. The game is being so nice to us right now. Okay, let's roll and keep moving forward. All right, we have a 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, so we're on the McLaren spot, or the 4th team spot, which will correspond to the 4th deck here. Top of Mind. This is always a fun one. Okay. Top of Mind is always a fun one because you literally can just think of the first thing. And to be honest, the first thing that I thought of when I pulled that card was Arcana Academy. I'm just so excited for this. So we're gonna go ahead and put this one on. Again, I don't remember the full synopsis, but we'll talk about it in the vlogs, but definitely very excited for that one. So I'll put that one for top of mind. All right, next roll. And next roll, and a 4, 1, 2, good, we're past that, 3, 4, the first team spot, the Mercedes spot, so we'll go to the first deck here, 400 plus pages, and that won't be a problem at all. So 400 plus pages, again, we got some chunky books that I'm interested in. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, this one's definitely, it's almost 450. So we'll just go with Immortal Consequences by Ivy Marie, but again, there are plenty of other books that I'll be reading that are quite chunky, but we'll go with that one. All right, next roll. So next roll, a 1. We are getting all of the Haas spots this time. All right, let's go back to the second deck here for the second team spot. 4+ word title. I remember getting some of these last month. I swear I shuffled them. Okay, I swear, again, as I said, I swear I shuffled, but these last two prompts are ones that we got last month as well, so I needed to do a better job shuffling apparently. But 4+ word title, and I'll just do the one that has the most number of words on it, because why not? This is another one that I would like to read this month. This is A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire by Sarah Hawley, and the last book in the, is it Glen Falls series? I don't remember what the series name is, but this is the last book in that series, and I've definitely had a fun time with the first two, so would love to go ahead and finish that series out. So we'll go ahead and put that one for 4+ word title. All right, next one. But let's keep going on to the next roll. Another one. So we're gonna go to the Alpine spot this time, or the third team spot. So we'll go to the third deck here. Continue a series. You know, this is a theme for me this year, so that's always a welcomed prompt. So continue a series, and I mentioned several series so far, so I could definitely put the second book in. Oh, this is the third book again in the Skullomance. Let's see. I could put the second book in the Skullomance, which is, I think, what I'm going to do to continue this series. I also could put the Curse of Sens, which is another one I mentioned. This is a continuation of a series. I mentioned finishing several series as well, but this one says continuing a series, which, I mean, technically if you're finishing a series, you're still continuing it, I guess, for that last book, but I'm just going to count this as a series that I'm still in the middle of and will be once I read that book. So we definitely have a few options for that one, but we'll go ahead and put the second book in the Skullomance series as the official list, or the official book for that prompt. All right, next one. So let's keep going to the next roll. A 3. 1, 2, 3. And for this spot, if it's even, I believe we move forward, and if it's odd, we move back. So let's, okay, so even, forward, odd, we move back. Oh, and we got a 6. So we're moving forward, but really that just means we're going to the end spot here, and we'll have a free pick for the end spot. Overall, the game was pretty nice to us. And final spot, free pick. So for this one, I'll just go ahead and put Tusk Love on here officially for that spot. Again, we're using this for Magical Readathon as well. And it just looks so, how precious is that cover though? Seriously, this is another one that could have gone in for beautiful cover. It's just so precious. Anyway, very excited to have this one on this TBR as well. Trying to double up on as many prompts as I can. But overall, the game was pretty nice to me. Like, a decent number of prompts, but not too many. A lot of them had some flexibility in terms of what other prompts they could count for various things. So I think this is going to be a fantastic reading month. I'm so excited for fall reading to begin. It is my favorite time of year in general, but also my favorite time of year for reading. I just love everything about spooky season reads, fall romances, witchy books, dark, sinister, spooky books, dark academia, all of it. I love. So this is my favorite time to read. So yeah, could not be more thrilled. So thank you so much for watching. And because I don't necessarily care what order I read these books, I might actually have a TBR jar with all of these books in it, decide the order that I read the books, and I'll just like keep drawing books to pick my next read. So if you want to see vlogs where I use a TBR jar to pick my next read out of the ones that I have set for September, subscribe and you can see those vlogs. But yeah, as I said, subscribe for more bookish content, and I will leave my Instagram down below, as well as more information about how you can support the Black Lives Matter movement, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.